Hi everyone, I hope you're keeping well. As you probably heard, we're on lockdown here in the UK now, and so I won't be going mudlarking for a little while. I'll be keeping off the foreshore, but I do have a lot of footage in my files, and so I'm still going to be making YouTube videos every week. I've got so much footage that I've made in the past, so I've got all that to draw on, so there'll be some really good mudlarking videos to come. And the other day I asked you if you wanted to hijack my channel, and I've got some fantastic clips and photos and all sorts of things through, all about mudlarking, lot-larking, larking in different places in different countries. So we've got a really good little treat in store for us, as well as some good artwork. We've got some IDs that are needed as well for people who want to ID their finds. And so let's get straight on with it. I'm going to try and narrate it as I go through. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I've got lots of clips, lots of photos, lots of things to get through. And thank you very much for participating. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So first of all, we're going to start off with a little hello from our good friend Sci Finds and his chicken.
Alright mud lovers, I hope you're doing well and keeping safe. I'm self-isolating here with Mildred the chicken. We're keeping nice and safe, and I hope you are too. So yeah, all I can say is keep in and keep off the streets, because we need to beat this virus. I'm actually going to put a few more videos out in the coming weeks. They're all old videos, so don't worry, I haven't been out mudlarking. I've been staying safe and indoors. So from me, keep well, and Nicola, I'll meet you on the foreshore soon. We'll do some more mudlarking ASAP. See you later.
Thanks Simon, indeed, very much looking forward to getting back down on the foreshore with you very soon. And this is a card which Simon has made using the Thames typeset which he found in the River Thames. A nice little postcard featuring London there. And Simon isn't the only person who has an animal in his garden. David and Vicky from Tasmania found a wallaby in their garden, and he is here. And moving on to another animal, a pet this time, this is Runt. Now Runt is not a mudlark. Runt belongs to Dave, and Dave says that Runt is a food lark, and I can well believe it because I've had cats in the past that are food larks too. Now we're going to move on to our first little mini mudlarker, who's going to give us a roundup of his favourite finds, and he is called James. Take it away, James.
Hello, my name's James. I'm 4, and these are all my finds.
What have you got?
I've got a clay pipe bowl with a horsey tail, a flag clay pipe box, got a flag, clay pipe bowl that has hand.
That's beautiful.
Wood curlet's hole.
Oh yes.
Stone elephant.
Yeah.
That's stone. Ammonite. That's a fossil.
Yes.
A rainbow fossil. That's a fossil. Actinoid. That's a fossil. A vulcanite bottle. A red and glass marble. And a blue glass marble, and one air bubble.
One air bubble.
One air bubble, glass ink pot.
And what's your favourite things to find?
Clay pipe bowls
Oh.
and stone elephants and marble.
Thanks very much indeed for that, James. I totally agree with you. Pipes are the absolute best. And now we're going to hear from another mini mudlarker and metal detectorist whose name is Sophia. Take it away, Sophia.
Hello, Nicola. I'm called Sophia and I live in Paynton. I just want to show you all these finds that I've found on the beach with my metal detector. So first, I found this magnet here. Take out the bag. It's a very strong magnet. Pop it back in. Next up, I want to talk about these keys. This one's very interesting because it says Browns. You can just about see that there. Browns. this one, this is quite unusual because it has these patterns. And on the other side too. And I have the sea glass too. And this one's my biggest one that I could find. And there's lots more in here. I have this fossil here. We don't know what it is yet, but you can just about see it right there. There. I love watching your videos, and I love seeing you find the pipes and lots more. Bye.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Happy hunting. Now, over in Italy, Dominic has been making the most of the lockdown to go out in the garden with his girls, Sophie and Rebecca, and do a little bit of searching around, and they've had quite a lot of luck.
Sophie, have you found anything interesting? What is it? Can I see? Ooh, that looks like a very old piece of pottery. What do you think, Boo? Yeah, we'll take that home.
I'm going to put it in the pile down there.
All right then.
We found all these, and the first one we found was this heavy one of the bricks. Then we found a lot of other things.
What's that? That's the kind of thing that might be interesting.
Maybe this is a bottle. Maybe it is the same part of the bottle.
Uh-huh.
We found that thing. She was saying it all the time.
What did Rebecca find?
Got it? This.
Uh-huh. And who found this?
B.
Rebecca? Did you find that, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Uncle could do a lot of that.
Okay.
And I found this.
What's that, Sophie?
Pottery.
A piece of pottery. That's nice. Okay, with a bit of glaze on it.
So we found a lot of things, and even this I found. All these other bricks, anyway.
Yeah, maybe there was a house there a long time ago, hey?
Yeah.
Should we wait for bye now, girls?
Bye.
Rebecca?
Bye.
Fantastic finds there from Sophie and Rebecca. Thanks, Dominic, and thanks, Sophie, and thanks, Rebecca. And now we're off to Scotland to meet up with Lil Fisher, Megan and Finley. They're going to take us on a little mudlarking excursion, and I know that this is going to be really good.
Hi everyone, lovely to see you. Greetings from Scotland. My name's Lil Fisher and this is my daughter Megan. Hello. And this is my son Finley. And we want to bring you this little video from Scotland of a little trip we did out the other day. But first of all, just to say thank you to Nicola White for your amazing channel. We absolutely love it and we watch it a lot. I have learned so much from yours and other videos like the Northern Mudlarks and Kit and Caboodlers. And from that, the other day when I went for a walk, I was able to see a bottle dump. I saw some things lying about and I thought, that looks like a bottle dump. So we decided to go and investigate, and we're going to show you some of the things that we found when we were there.
So I found two things, but my favourite find is this bottle here. It says Dunbar, Aitken and Co. And some of you might know that Dunbar is the birthplace of John Muir, who was born in 1838 and founded some of the biggest national parks in America.
It's in perfect condition and it's got a lovely internal screw top which would fit all the many vulcanite stoppers that we have in our collection. This is one of my favourites. It was the first I pulled out. I've got a little bit of video footage of me finding it, but I was really delighted to find that it was in such good condition. A lovely old marmalade pot, I'm assuming, something similar to that. Here we are doing a little bottle dump hunt. It's not really a bottle dump in the end, it's just a slight bit of a midden, but we found a few things along the way, and I've just seen this marmalade jar or something similar, which I'm going to... Oh, it might even be whole. Well, that's exciting. Yes! Wow. So nice. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's got nothing written on it. And some glass jars, which I don't think are very old, but they're also in great condition. And Finley also found this really nice little bottle. So these are some of my favourite pieces that I find in the bottle dump. Lots of beautiful bits of glass. This gorgeous lemon yellow piece here with the milky edge to it. It's really, really stunning. Again, another piece here with a lovely little detail in the glass and milky around the edge. One of my favourite bits of china is this here, this stork, a little cameo piece, which is always just a delight to find. And on the other side it actually says Yuan. I don't know if anyone knows anything about that. I've looked it up. I can't find out what design that might be from, but it's really pretty. And my other favourite piece randomly is just this tile that's actually just been eaten into and corroded by the earth, but it's just beautiful. It's a lovely pattern. I also really like this piece. It's very unusual. I think it's cliffs maybe and water. A little landscape, seascape with a lovely floral design on the other side. It's quite a substantial piece of pottery. And this bottle end, I think, could have some age to it. It's quite uneven round the edge. Our favourite find of the day, well, two finds I think, were both Megan's. She has an eye for the little detail. First of all, this really exquisite little pendant, which she found actually upside down. And I don't think it's any precious metal. I think it's more costume jewellery than anything else, but it's somebody's little personal treasure, and really special to find it sitting in the mud. So this will be our favourite find, I think, of the day. Megan found this tiny little item, also face down in the mud. It says Edinburgh and District Tramway on it. It's a button and it has a tower symbol in the middle. And we looked up and were able to find some really delightful history about the tramway that used to exist before our current new, very, very expensive tramway that's just been built in Edinburgh. This was the original. And they were horse, cable and overhead electric trams from 1894 to 1919. Now we believe that this is a button from one of the earlier either horse-drawn or cable-drawn trams. And we found this, we're going to put it up on the screen as well, this little bit of history, but it says here that staff working the horse services wore single-breasted jackets with 4 buttons bearing full company title and a triple-towered castle device. And also some of the cable lines running at the same time initially wore the same uniforms. So we believe that this is one of the earlier ones, round about the sort of 1890s up to 1900, somewhere around about there. And it kind of connects very personally with someone who lived in that cottage, who perhaps worked for the tramway at that time, and it makes it really, really special. So that's us. Finley's run away. But and my face has gone bright red with the sun coming through the window. But we're inside. It's Corona time, and we're keeping our spirits up, aren't we? Mm-hmm. And here's a little video of our favourite things from the day, just to finish off. And thank you very much. And maybe I'll do my own channel someday. Bye.
Thanks so much for that, Lil, Megan and Finley. It was brilliant to meet you, and I definitely think you should start your own channel, definitely. And this is Alice, and she is beachcombing in New England, and I'm sure she's found some excellent treasures. And this is Judy Dickerson here, and she is, according to her dad, a history buff. And Gregory takes Julie out searching, and they found some fantastic little treasures here, some bottles, and they're from St. John, New Brunswick in Canada. So hi to you, Julie, and hi, Gregory. And here are Bonnie and Milo, and they are beachcombers from the USA, and they're very glad to have their pets at the moment during this lockdown time. And here's Archibald, and he is bushwalking in Australia, and he looks like he's found something pretty cool too. going back to the northeast of England to see what Lauren has found.
Hello, so we just wanted to share some of the things that we'd found when we did get out and about. We're currently in the first week of a 2-week self-isolation, so we can't get out at the moment. But just wanted to share some of the things that we'd found. We live in Jarrow, which is in the northeast of England. If you look on a map, it's like there on the map. And so we've got like loads of really nice little stoppers that we've found. That one says Fenwick and Co, Sunderland, Newcastle Brown Ale. That one says Liverpool. That one says Lockside Ales. That one's like wooden, but I think it's still a bit older. This one's Newcastle. That would have been a huge bottle, and that's just a plain one. We also found some cool bottles. So this one says the Newcastle Breweries Company, and it's a war grade bottle stopper. That was like probably one of the nicer finds. And we've got this one, which was for Puro milk, which was like sterilised milk, which my nana remembers drinking, and she said it was disgusting. The bottle's really marked, but we're trying to clean them up as safe and as best as we can. This one says Craven Dairy Fresh Orange, so it would have had like juice in it. And then another one, which was like an older milk bottle. And this one, which says Reevely's Jarrow, which is like a local old pop factory that would have been around. And then these ones, which are more newer, I think. And then just like pipe stems and things that were found. Bits of pipe and things like that. Hope everyone's keeping well. And yeah, just wanted to share some of the finds. Bye.
And now we're joining Sarah Sally Legrand of Kansas, who's with her dog Kai Ann, and I love the pink wellies, Sarah. Sarah has been taking the opportunity during the lockdown to go out and search the area behind where she lives, and there's a creek out there, and when her dog went out into the creek she followed Cayenne, and she ended up finding a really interesting old tag that came probably from a milk container belonging to somebody who owned the land in the last century. So it's always nice to find an unexpected find. Thanks very much for that, Sarah Sally. By the way, I hope I'm saying everybody's names right. I'm bound to get some wrong. I'm bound to. And now we've got a mystery object found on a beach in England by Jeff over 60 years ago.
Hi Nicola, I'm just wondering if anybody would know what this is. I found it on a beach maybe 50-60 years ago, and I've always had it with me. Didn't actually know what it is. I thought it was at first some form of leaf that is embedded like a fossil, but then I really don't know. If anyone could help, I'd be obliged. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi!
My name's Isabella.
And I'm Matt.
We went mudlarking about a year ago.
On the River Thames, and it was very muddy and very wet.
We stuffed them in a bag and then we washed all the mud out.
And here are our favourite finds.
I hope you enjoy. This is the first thing that I want to show you. This was actually one of the things that I found, and it's a jawline of a sheep. So this is, when I found it, I was like, oh my god, we probably won't be able to keep it because it might have been a dead body. So we asked the guy that was kind of training us, if you might say, and it was actually a sheep's bone. And if you have a look closely, you can see there's still 4 teeth. So they actually used to throw sheep off and into the water as a punishment.
This is the bits of a glass bottle we found. So the guy who we went mudlarking with said this is like a 17th century bottle, and you can tell by the deep kind of bit in the bottom.
A hairpin that they used to have in their hair, and I got some bolts for holding ships down. The hairpin they used to put in their hair, probably like that. And it's very interesting and old, and I like its curve. Then I've also got these bolts that were used to hold ships down, and I think here's the bolt bit, and here's probably the rest of it, but it probably snapped off.
So this is my favourite bit. It's a bit of a pot, and it's got a mark on by the people who made it. So we think this is a 17th century cider pot, and we did look up who the maker was on the way back, but I can't find it again, which is no good. But this is our favourite piece.
Other things, but unfortunately we didn't have time to show all of them. So we got quite a few bits and bobs that are quite...
I hope you enjoyed.
And now we're travelling over to Vienna to hear about some finds found by Barbara. So thanks very much, Barbara. Very much looking forward to hearing about your finds.
Hello, Nicola. I say hello from Vienna, Austria, and I wanted to show you my surface finds in the Viennese woods. And just a quick roundup, but I wanted to show you with the item with which it all started for me. And I hope you can see it. This is mother of pearl. And I went for a walk in October and this showed up. And then I did some research and I found out that was all just trash from the button industry. You have these cute little buttons. And it was built for the roads. It was used to build roads in the Viennese woods. And so it all began, and yeah, I found some other parts of mother of pearl, and you find here a lot of shards, whether it's china or it's pottery, a lot of tiles also, and I can't really say how old it is, because we don't have much information about it here in Austria. I think it's a great difference to what you have in London. Yeah, but I keep researching and I keep looking, and I just wanted to show you some of my favorites. So let me move this. I found my first bottle seal, and I have really absolutely no idea where it is from and how old it is, and I tried to research the manufacturer, but you don't find information about Austria, or I did find a lot of this in the US, but I have no idea how old it is and where it comes from. I found 2 coins. This is ein Groschen from 1974. That was pretty interesting. And I found another coin, and it's so worn I have no idea what it is or what it could be. Well, yeah, that's my only button so far, and I think it's quite modern. And this is a tag, a security tag, which was used for, you have, in building you have special plates. You had that in the 70s, and you have to be careful because of asbestos. And I don't find sea glass, but I did find old glass, or rather old glass, I'm not so sure. And I think this comes from a fence or some decoration. This is a name tag. I'm still doing research on this one. And I don't know what this is. I think it's a stone. It looked like a bullet, but I really don't know. So if you have any idea, let me know. Also about the bottle seal. And yeah, that's it. And I hope you're doing fine. And thank you for your idea. Bye bye.
And now we're going over to meet Toby, Arnott and Zuko, who are visiting Splott Beach in Cardiff.
So this is the famous Splott Beach. Basically it's all landfill from the steelworks with loads of industrial related artefacts and bits and pieces. So I will take a little walk and see what we can find. Where's he gone? There he is. And that's the Bristol Channel. There he goes, bless him. Bath time when we get home. So all these rocks, they're all spoiled from the blast furnace of the steelworks, and they've all been broken up. And you can see here, there's one. This is the very bottom of the cauldron, where they've shut the cauldron down, which they only do once a year, I think. And they've just tipped it onto the beach. Well, it's all landfill basically from the steelworks, but you can see this, and if you look really close, all these air bubbles. That's how you know it's not just concrete. It's from the blast furnace, and it's all cracked up. And it's a huge thing. And there's another one just over here, and they've got this lovely shape to them. It's kind of like a piece of sculpture, and it looks like the thing, or like something coming out of the ground being born. There's another one over here, which is really interesting. Well, really interesting for me. But this is the bottom of the cauldron, where it's been. Oh, there's another one just there. You can see all broken up again. It looks just like a piece of rock, but it is kind of interesting when you know it's the very bottom of the blast furnace, the cauldron. And here we go. This is a lot more interesting. So here you go. You can see this is all the steel, or the iron, I guess it is. And that's the shape of the bottom of the cauldron. And the rest of it, I guess it's just a big lump of slag, isn't it? But it's beautiful. It's like an amazing thing. Look at that. So this is one of the larger pieces, sort of architectural. What would it be? Industrial archaeology, really, isn't it? Oh, look, here he is. Zuko's made it back from the mud flats, chasing seagulls.
Thanks very much indeed for that, Toby and Zuko. And now we're going over to meet Jen and Lucas, and they go rock hounding in southern Utah to find quartz. Something that I've never done. I've never done any rock hounding, and I don't know a great deal about rocks, and so this is really interesting.
Where'd you put that one? Oh, thanks.
Now we are going over to meet Sally, who has a YouTube channel called Harps, Babies and Pups, and she is about to tell us why. And I recommend you watch it right until the end, because she actually makes some babies. She really does. She makes some babies. You have to see it to believe it.
So, hi. My name is Sally, and I am the proprietor of the one with the long name. The babies and the pups and the harps and all that. Now, I have, not content with having to live in fear of coronavirus, managed to get myself some shingles on my forehead, but not to be deterred by that. I'm taking medicine and feeling a bit funny in the head, but I thought that I would show you why I have that name and where I do my mudlarking. So let's get to it. This is my garden. I live in the middle of Sweden at a place called Edsvära. You can see there isn't much spring happening, but we do have a bit of purple over there, which is some crocuses starting to come. The pups bit is because of my 3 dogs. There we have Maisie. Hi Maisie. And there we have old Vera, who seems to have found something to eat. Vera is 15. Hello. And they're Polish lowland sheepdogs, and we also have Tam Tam, because of the way she gallops. Say hello, Tam Tam. She's a Spanish water dog. So that's the pups part of it. Now, I do actually do a bit of mudlarking, and I do that mostly in my molehills, which are absolutely enormous. Unfortunately, it's frozen, so I can't show you the kicking method of mudlarking in any great detail, but I tend to do that. As you can see, not much is happening. But you do actually turn up quite a lot of stuff, because this is very old agricultural ground. People have been living around here, well, since ever. And I do find quite a lot of pottery shards, mostly from the early 20th century, some from earlier, and some that I can't identify. They're probably really old. But I'll show you the ones that I've collected in a plate here. I'm not very good at taking care of them, but you'll see that here we have some bits and pieces. It's a fairly recent one, something from the 1920s. We did actually have a pottery at a place called Lidköping, which isn't very far away from here, which has been making things since the 1700s, and quite a lot of that pottery does tend to turn up. And the interesting thing is that you can find bits of the same plate all over the garden. This one and the other one I showed you before there. They're not the same, are they? Anyway, they're 2 bits of the same. I found them in completely different parts of the garden, so I don't know how they managed to get so separated. But I have also some miniature pigs, and they're very good at finding things in their paddock. So that's the babes and the mudlarking. I'll just quickly show you that the harps comes from this. Look, harps, everybody. I built harps. I had a company called Nordic Harps, which isn't online any longer because I took it down at the end of last year, for 20 years after I burned out as a psychiatrist at the end of the 20s, and have been doing that for a long time. Got a bit of arthritis in my hands, can't be bothered with the dust any longer, so I stopped doing that. I do still play, and I have a choir. But then I started making babies instead. Not in the traditional way, but making reborn babies, as they're called, which look very scary when you're first making them. And quite a lot of people think they're scary anyway. But if you're doing a good job, they're actually very sweet. So here we have a couple that I've made. This one is Gabriel. This one is Charlie. There are hundreds and thousands of different models. You buy a vinyl kit, you put them together. This one is called Maylene. Say hello. And this happy girl is Tori. These 2 are made by the same artist, a very clever sculptor called Ping Lau in America. So now you know why I have all the long name for my channel. I'm thinking it'll probably get streamlined a bit later on, but until I get rid of dogs or harps or babies or something, which isn't quite unlikely, it'll carry on like that. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little trip around my house in the middle of Sweden, and please come and see me. Bye.
Thank you very, very much indeed for that, Sally. That's just so interesting. I love the mudlarking in the molehills, and I love the harps, and I'm absolutely fascinated by those babies. They look so very, very real. I'm sure everyone will agree with me on that. And now I have a special guest, because it is none other than my own mother, the amazing Anita Carey. Hi Mum, take it away.
Special cup with a willow pattern on it. Yesterday, I'm going to introduce myself first, which is a bit remiss of me. My name is Anita, and I'm Nicola's mum, and you might remember me from my video that I did with Nicola at Christmas when we talked about a pipe maker in London. Well, last year when Peter and I were over with Nicola staying, we loved to go mudlarking with her because you never know what we're going to find. Not that we're as clever as she is at finding things, but nevertheless, you always find something. And I've always collected things from, long, long before I can even remember. But I knew that in a carrier bag in our garden shed, or my husband's garden shed, in Peter's garden shed, I had a bag full of china and also glass bottles and jars that we collected in London from last year, just waiting for the right day to actually get them out and sort them. So here are some of my china pieces, and it wasn't until I was sorting them out and I realised that almost all of them are the edges of something. So obviously they've been bashed around the edge. Yes, there are lots of middle bits, but there are so many edge pieces. So I've almost made a plate. If I could put it all together, I could make a big plate out of it, perhaps. I'll show you some of the glasses that we found. There's a Shipham's toothpaste, what am I talking about? A Shipham's fish paste jar there, a big one and a small one. And I remember as a child we used to have fish paste sandwiches. I thought this was a real treat. I don't think young children would like it today. And there's an Express Dairy milk bottle, which we found. And also nearby, a piece of china, which actually says, if I can find it, I've lost it, Express Dairy Company Limited. So they even made their own plates. In amongst my finds, I found some willow pattern pieces as well, which is lovely, just like my cup and saucer. And in fact, even this cup and saucer containing black chai tea, which is my favourite, and my old teapot, that's very special as well.
Thank you very much for that, Mum. Thank you, that cup of tea looked absolutely delicious. And now we are going across the Atlantic to hear from Sadie, who lives in San Francisco.
Hello, Nicola, and thanks for letting us hijack your channel. My name's Sadie, and I live in San Francisco, California. Most people know that we had a great big earthquake here in 1906, but San Franciscans know that what caused the real damage was the big fire that raged for several days afterwards. So if you find something that shows evidence of mass breakage and mass burning, that's pretty much diagnostic of the San Francisco quake and fire. So I found these while I was, I guess you'd say, rocklarking. Can't really call it mudlarking because there's really not that much mud. Up in the Marina District of San Francisco on the north edge of town, right at the bay. And so we see on the right, lovely little flow blue Victorian teacup with clear evidence of massive meltage of glaze. And then over here we have what seems to be a stack of china that was just broken all in one glow and fused together with heat and crud. So after the fire was finally put out, which took a lot of doing, everything was covered in rubble, and they just bulldozed everything into the bay. So you can still find melted chunks of history all over the place. So hope you enjoyed that little bit. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for that, Sadie. Really interesting. Now, Molly Renardet, who comes from Colorado, she got in touch with me to tell me that during the lockdown, her and her husband have been making the most of the time and have excavated the basement of a 120-year-old home that used to be on their property. And it's there that they found this body of a doll, which is rather spooky. It's a bisque porcelain doll, she says, from 1860s to early 1900s. She was able to date it to then. Although Molly will probably never find out who it belonged to or why it was there, it will certainly be very, very good material inspiration for perhaps a few spooky stories. Molly is also a teacher, and she sent me some journal entries that her pupils wrote all about mudlarking, and so I've put them up here for you to have a look at. It's just wonderful to see how children are inspired by mudlarking and searching for history and searching for treasures and then writing about it. These are wonderful, so thank you so much for sending them, Molly, and thank you very much as well to the children who wrote these fantastic journal entries. Thank you. Now for Tina Bon in Suffolk, it all started when she found a clay pipe stem in the River Gipping. And this is a picture of the river, and these are some of her treasures that she has gone on to find. And Tina also makes art with her finds, and there are some photographs here of the things that she's made with some of the objects that she has retrieved from the rivers that she goes larking in. Now here's an interesting one. David from Hong Kong has been in touch because he hopes that somebody might be able to help decipher the lettering on this pewter pot which he has owned for some time. He has been in touch with the Pewter Society in the UK. He hasn't really got the information that he would like though. Apparently this pot was used to catch drips of beer from beer barrel taps, and it has some very hard to read text on the side of it, and I'm putting it here in the hope that somebody might be able to decipher it. He's also done a little rubbing, a picture of which is here, so I don't know, in the very slim chance that anybody might know what it says, please comment below. Thank you very much, and I hope you do end up finding out what this all says, David. I know you sent quite a lot of information about it, which I couldn't really put up here, but if anybody does want a little bit more information about it, then I can always ask David to send it to you if you think you might be able to help him. Now, it's always great to see people excited when they find something. I must admit I got pretty overly excited when I found my Roman coin recently. And here is Adrian from Metal Detectives of Dorset. He has a YouTube channel, and so I'll put the link here. You may want to go and watch some of their videos because they've got some great finds. And this is Adrian getting extremely happy and excited over a coin that he's just found.
I got a jammy yammy. What? I got a jammy yammy. I got a jammy yammy. A jammy yammy I got. Get off my land.
You've got a hammy? Hammered?
It's there.
Where?
See him.
Where?
Little tiny hammy.
Cool. Nice one.
It's the cutest day. It's a big one.
Wow.
I don't think you should have got lots.
That's nice. Gotta pick it up.
I haven't found a single old coin today, so I'm chuffed with this, mate. I don't know who it is or what the coin is or anything. I just don't know.
Is that a long cross? No.
I can't tell. Can you see much detail on it?
No.
Definitely a long cross, and you can see where it's been chopped, look.
You can, yeah.
So I'm dead chuffed with that, mate.
Nice one.
Now that's made my day.
Clint wrote to me and sent me some photographs of some objects that he has found with his dad, and I want to especially give a big shout out to Clint's dad, who is now 90, but Clint's dad started taking Clint searching for treasures and metal detecting when Clint was just 8 years old, and now Clint is in his 50s and his dad is 90. And it just goes to show that when you start to inspire your children young to look for pieces of history and go out searching and hunting for objects, then it's something that's very likely to carry on for the rest of their life. So big shout out to you, Clint's dad, big shout out to Clint, and thanks for sending the photos. You got some great finds there. So thank you very much. Happy hunting. Keep on doing it. Now here are some finds from Diana Barr, and she is from New York, and she is a river, stream and creek scavenger. Sounds absolutely perfect. So thank you for showing me your finds, Diana. Also from New York is Noah, and he has been bottle digging and finding all sorts of amazing, wonderful artefacts. I'm very, very envious. He even found a bottle from England marked Burrows, Malvern mineral water, and he'd really like some more information on that in case anybody does have any. So thanks for sending those, Noah. Got an interesting idea here. Jonathan Wheeler found this kind of long black thing on a beach at Scapa Flow next to a World War I airfield. Do you know what it is? Have you got any ideas? Because Jonathan would love to know what this object is. And Emma has also sent in some objects here which she would love some ID on if you're able to help her. Also an ID needed for Mario here, if you have any ideas on what this could be. There's also a coin here which George would love to have an ID on, and a button with a king and a queen on, and if you know the king and the queen and if you want to put it in the comments below, that would be great, because I know John would love to know. These objects were found by Jane Ingram in Tuscany. We also have a few little treasures here from Franco Taffarelli when he was larking down on the Isle of Dogs in London. We've also got some pottery sent in by Karen, found on Catalina Island off the coast of California. And this is Luigi and Gwen found Luigi on a walk in Sydney, Australia, in a national park. And now we've got some really beautiful artwork by some very, very talented people. Some of them have used their finds to make collages, some of them have painted, some of them have drawn, some of them have used cross-stitch, and some of them have been making artwork with objects outside in nature, like these ones by Jen in California. They're ever so imaginative and just great fun. I also want to mention a girl who is called Krista Jurish, and she lives in New Orleans, and after Katrina devastated her city, she began to follow the wrecking crews and privy diggers collecting bits and bobs from empty lots. So she says, I am a lot larker, and these pieces are made with her findings, and you'll see she's used marbles that local children certainly played with. There's also some beautiful recycled art from people here as well, and a beautiful selection of work. Thank you very much for sharing all your amazing artwork with us. And we haven't had any writers yet, and that's about to change because there are two writers I wanted to mention. And the first one is Sophie Shillitoe. And Sophie is a mudlark, and she's also a writer, and she's written a book. What an amazing achievement. Well done. And her book is coming out in May, and it's called All the Little Places. And it's about a train journey from the countryside into the city, crossing the bridge over the river. And a lot of her inspiration that's come from the Thames foreshore and her mudlarking has crept into her book, and I'm sure it's going to be well worth a read, and it comes out in May. All the best with that, Sophie, and I definitely would love to read your book. And secondly, now let's listen to a poem by artist and priest and writer Alex Gowing-Cumber, who is reciting at the moment a poem each day, and you can see his daily poem on Twitter. I'll put the Twitter address here, but this is one of his poems that he's written recently. Thanks very much, Alex. Take it away.
Morning, lovelies. Hello to all my fellow plague pilgrims, and here's today's poem for you. Bulrush baby, never seen bog roar, never heard an estuary bell toll, or eaten a seafront pucker pie hole. Pooled from an ocean of absurdity, forerunner to Christ at the Sea of Galilee, privileged palace education, plague runner, knife wielder, killer, blood spiller, water from the rock side, rock of ages, Calvary crucified, who is on the Lord's side, tabloid confusion, leaders in delusion, prime minister with mops of hair, yet no toilet paper anywhere, like the orders of the Sister Clare, isolation everywhere, cloistered care, unwashed hair, filthy habits, pot stewed pet rabbits, survival like a Bruce Willis film, one step ahead of danger, like the child in the manger, time to return to Egypt, exiled and reconciled, quarantined to safety, into the epicenter of assumed danger, we find our cocooned womb, a Moses basket that serves the viral flood.
Thank you very much for that, Alex. And now all that's left for me to say is a huge thank you to you all for hijacking my channel. It was the greatest of fun, and I consider myself so lucky that I've got such an amazing group of subscribers, people that watch my videos, and let's just hope that this situation that we're all going through right now will be over as soon as possible. And in the meantime, perhaps we can just all encourage each other with things like this. And I just really admire your creativity and your positivity and the joy and inspiration that just shines through everything that we have just seen. So thank you very much for being a light in the world at the moment, which is a difficult place. But we will come through it. We will come through the other end. We will come through it together, definitely. And we will be back on the foreshore, we'll be back mudlarking, we'll be back outside, and I bet we'll be even more grateful for things that we took for granted before. So thanks again, guys, and I'll be back on Sunday with a mudlarking video. And in the meantime, I'm sending you lots and lots of love and lots of thanks. Okay, see you again soon. Bye-bye.